Alright guys, let's look at RIA Checkpoint. This is the software you're going to use to do research in this class. Basically what will happen is I'll put some assignments out there for you. There's problems at the end of the chapters that give you research scenarios. So I'll assign 3 of those during the semester, and you will have to use this software to find the answers to the situations that are presented, and then draft up brief memos concerning your findings. For those memos, I will have a rubric that you can access in the content tab of D2L that will let you know how those memos will be graded. Okay, so in RIA, when you first log in, you have to go to the website that you'll find in the front cover, or the front couple of pages in the textbook you bought. There is like a scratch off area that gives you user ID and password to get in here. When you first log in, you will have to go through a series of like setup screens where you make, basically preference choices. Just take what's recommended there. Just make sure when you get to the screen asking about the type of research you're going to do, make sure you select tax. And I would also select the search tab to be the one that opens automatically, but some of you might end up on home. Anyway, if you end up on home or search, just end up on this search tab. This is where you're going to do all of the starting point for all of your research. If you remember from Chapter 2, there are primary and secondary sources of tax law. On the left-hand side over here are all kinds of secondary sources. Editorial stuff is just guidance provided by tax professionals regarding the law. So it's not something you can use to defend positions in court. However, they are good starting points sometimes if you don't know where you need to look and you just need to find some kind of discussion on a topic. You can find some articles down here, weekly alerts. This side over here is where the primary sources of law are. You can see all these plus signs here. That is to expand the item and see more choices. So if you click that plus, you'll see regulations are right here. Here's the code, history, preambles. So basically regs and code right here. If you go down here, you can see cases, a bunch of tax court cases. We'll close that back up. IRS publications is kind of like individual. It's kind of like rule books for specific items that the IRS deems important enough to prepare publications for. And then IRS rulings. These are administrative sources of law, like revenue rulings, revenue procedures, and private letter rulings, like we talked about in Chapter 2. So that's kind of the breakdown of what this area is. Sometimes you'll be able to just search directly in. You'll know a code section, or you'll see a code section reference in the text, and you can just go there by simply clicking on this book over here. It takes you into the code in this case. If you know you want to find code section 75, you start to drill down into these levels. So you can see section 1 to 1563. So you can drill down all the way, keep going and going and going. It's going to be in here until you find, what did I say, 57? And 1 to 59 is right here, so you click in there. So you keep going, and eventually you'll find the code section you're looking for. Okay? If you end up on screens like this maximize button will take you back to where you have headings. You can get back to the search page by clicking search, and you're right back. But a big thing you're going to do is use this keyword search idea, because you know your situation that you have to find answers for. Because I'll give you a problem. You have to figure out the words to use that are likely used in these tax laws. So that's the tricky part. You type words in here, you check mark the boxes of what you want to search, and then you hit search. You might want to use this tool right here, this query tool, because you can search for several different terms in here, and then you can use connectors to make your searches more precise. And this is something that's going to take practice, but you can do things like, search for 2 words in the same sentence together, by funding and deficiency. So funding /s, deficiency, will find those 2 words in the same sentence. Whereas if you just typed funding and deficiency in here, you'll find documents that have those 2 words somewhere in them, but they might not even be related to one another. All right, I'm going to continue this in part 2.